Hello everyone, Al here, and time for another Scary Spaghetti Developers blog. Before I begin here, I do want to apologize that I know I haven't posted anything for a few weeks here, and it's just that the life has just been pretty chaotic for me recently. It's like, you remember the cartoon DuckTales? You know, apparently I live in Duckburg because the first line of that song is, "Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg." So that's pretty much what my life has been like the last few weeks, minus the lasers, race cars, and aeroplanes. But essentially everything kind of accumulated shortly after Labor Day. I was at my day job, and I started to feel pressure in my chest and started having shortness of breath. I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't focus, so I left work early, and fortunately my doctor's office was close, so I drove there, and when I got in, they hooked me up to a bunch of stuff. They did some tests. They couldn't really diagnose anything there, so just to be safe, they called an ambulance and they got me to the hospital, which once I got to the ER, they again hooked me up to a bunch of stuff and drew, I figure, somewhere between 4 to 6 hit points worth of blood out of me, ran a bunch of tests. I started to feel better a few hours later, but again, they still ran those tests just to be safe. They were able to rule out a heart attack, so, most of my vitals were fine. They didn't really find anything unusual. So they assumed it was probably hypertension. They just gave me some suggestions like lifestyle change type stuff, but, they didn't prescribe any medications, so at least I know I wasn't having a heart attack. So doing okay right now, though I have a feeling that once I get the ER bill, that's going to change, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So again, with Scary Spaghetti, as far as my progress on that, as I think I said the last time, more or less done with the crunch. There's still a few things I want to play test. Right now, I am working on writing some more of the fluff, specifically the tulpas, trying to figure out a good way to get, to convert those guys into game stats. So I've got a couple ideas, but I just want to play test them to see how they work out. I know I wanted to have my Kickstarter done. I've delayed that a little bit because I'm still waiting for some artwork. However, one friend of mine who I paid to do a cover, she's just about done with the cover art and actually did a really nice job. So I'm going to try to get a copy of that and post it to the Facebook page just so you guys can see the cover, because I think it looks really good. Also, another thing that's delaying my Kickstarter is I'm deciding if I still want to go with Kickstarter or not, or if I want to look for a different platform. The reason is Kickstarter's been in the news recently because apparently they're engaging in some behavior that people are interpreting as union busting. Now, I've always been pro-union. They're not perfect. I know that there are some unions out there that do make unreasonable requests and demands of the employer. But all in all, I think unions are an important part of the American economy and have done a lot to help the workers get better pay. And it seems that there were a couple of employees that were fired due to, well, they said it's because they were trying to unionize. However, Kickstarter says that it was for other issues. So going to kind of wait and see what happens with that. And I know I'm not the only person in the role-playing game industry, at least the small press industry, that, has voiced a little bit of concern about this. Now, the employees of Kickstarter who are trying to unionize have stressed that they're not telling people to take down their current projects. Not yet. They're not trying to discourage people from taking up new projects on that platform. But one of the publishers I follow on Twitter and I'm friends with on Facebook, Fred Hicks from Evil Hat Productions, I know he said that he was tweeting that he they're delaying a possible Kickstarter that they had planned for that reason. And again, it's because he said quite frankly or quite honestly that he feels that, and again, I'm trying to paraphrase here. I'm saying this from memory. I don't want to put words in the guy's mouth because I never met Fred personally, but just from the few interactions I've had with him over Facebook and Twitter, seems like a really cool guy. But, he stressed that while they are delaying and postponing the next project they had, because, he has had actually a lot of success on with Kickstarter with his company, but he wanted to also say that, he's not calling for other RPG developers to boycott Kickstarter. I don't know if he just wants to see how things play out, but like I said, I hope things do play out well for both the company as well as the employees. So, like I said, I will certainly keep you all informed as to when my Kickstarter finally does get up. I mean, right now I've just spent too much time and invested too much money into this project to not try to release it. Now, as far as the update on my current playtesting campaign, you might remember that I mentioned one of my playtesters who's also doing some artwork for me. He had mentioned a creepypasta called The Yellow Room, or The Backrooms. And, I looked it up when I got home from that session. I'm like, I think I'm going to incorporate that. And in my next session, I did in fact incorporate a variation of The Backrooms, which, as I said, it's an interesting creepypasta. And I know one of the episodes I'm planning for the future is I want to make an episode just detailing maybe my top 10 favorite creepypastas, just because I have been trying to read more into those while I've been developing this game. So essentially what The Backrooms are, if you no-clip out of reality, you find yourself in a yellow room with moist, damp, smelly, moldy, or mildew carpeting, and again, this dull yellow color to the walls, and there's this persistent hum of fluorescent lighting. And there's 3 levels to it, and of course, the further down you go, the more dangerous it gets. So what I did with my players is, one of the players is an entertainer, which is a new character click I developed upon this particular person's suggestion. And the entertainer is essentially your band geek, your theater kid. There's someone who is involved in the visual and performing arts. And one of the possessions her character has is a little portable tape recorder, because since she's an actress, she, will record her lines to, and test herself. She says her character does it as a way to memorize her lines. So I was saying, while you were working on that, you hear this, this unusual part that you don't remember recording. And she could recognize her friends' voices in there, but couldn't really tell what they were saying. Also, she did make out a couple of things, something about a book, also something about the mall, which, as I said before, is where they had their last adventure. And then also something about, again, Omega 9, which is a term that they've heard a couple times, but they haven't quite found out what exactly Omega 9 is yet, which, of course, they're going to later in the campaign. But when they went to the mall, they went to by this time, the mall was bought out by a big box corporation, and the photo lab where they found the evidence of an occult ritual, however, was closed. So they snuck in, and there was this handprint on the wall, and they used that to enter this little pocket dimension that I'm calling the Yellow Room. So the Yellow Room is similar to the Backrooms in a way. They found themselves in this moderate-sized room that had doors in each of the walls. And there was a persistent hum of the fluorescent lights. So they had to solve this maze that they were in. And while they were there were 2 different books that they managed to find. They also encountered another one of the spider-legged creatures that they encountered before. So one of the reasons I had them find those books is they're going to start testing one of the play mechanics I'm developing for rituals, because rituals do play an important part in some creepypastas. And essentially what the rituals are, how they're going to work in Scary Spaghetti, they're going to be something you have to usually do several times before you get it right. So they're going to learn about a ritual from one of those books, which is going to play a part in the next adventure. So I did like how that Yellow Room scenario turned out, and I'm going to be at New Game-A-Palooza down in Oshkosh first weekend in October. So I'm going to be running that as a demo adventure, and I do also hope I'll probably put that up as another demo adventure on drivethrstuff.com or drivethrurpg.com. And also, as I mentioned before, I did do some major revamping of the rules, and I did upload an updated version of the Tunnel demo adventure that incorporates some of these new changes. So again, if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, please take a look. Take a look and download it. And again, if you do have any suggestions, feel free to email me, poigamestudio@gmail.com. Also, speaking of creepypastas and rituals, I do have a creepypasta I just finished writing, and I am going to make a video for it for my YouTube channel, and I'm probably going to try to submit it to a creepypasta website as well. So I'll certainly keep you up to date with that. So who knows, maybe if I do write some more creepypastas, I'll dedicate episodes to them, or certainly put some YouTube videos up. So with that said, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Again, I do apologize that I haven't posted anything for a few weeks. I'm going to try to change that. It's just like I said, life has just been really hectic right now. So again, with that said, thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
Check out the guys over at Eclectic Media Project. They bring you podcasts such as Musically Challenged. Whose podcast is it anyway? Want to hear something interesting? And their newest podcast, Page 3.14 News. Check them out on Podbean and iTunes at Eclectic Media Project, on their website at www.eclecticmediaproject.com. Check them out, as they are the home with a little something for almost everyone.
You have been listening to a program from the Point of Insanity Network. Visit us at poigamestudio.podbean.com for more shows. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at POI Game Studio.